Village of Fox Crossing meetings are presented to inform Village of Fox Crossing residents and interested parties about village government. Additional information, meeting agendas, and minutes are available on the village website, www.foxcrossingwi.gov. Fox Crossing residents can express their opinions about village issues by contacting the village president or village trustees. Contact information is on the website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.
We will call the Village of Fox Crossing Board of Trustees meeting to order. It's Monday, January 26, 2026 at 6 p.m. And please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And clerk, please take roll.
Trustee Van Dyke.
Here via video.
Trustee Kepi.
Here.
Trustee Raditz.
Here.
Trustee McQuillan.
Here.
Trustee Swartz.
Here.
Trustee Hansen.
Here.
And President Youngquist.
Here. The first thing we have are some minutes and correspondence to approve and receive into record.
I'd like to make a motion to receive the minutes to approve special village board meeting January 12, 2026, regular village board meeting January 12, 2026, minutes and correspondence to receive planning commission meeting minutes December 3rd, 2025, park commission meeting minutes December 10th, 2025, water main breaks report December 2025, and lastly, water pumpage report, December 2025, as submitted.
Second.
Any questions or comments on any of those items? If not, those in favor of approving and accepting them signify by saying aye.
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 That carries. Okay, now I'm sure, well, I know we have a few people interested in making some public comments. I'm just going to read the basic policy for those who wish to address the board. The public comments are, in fact, to be addressed to the village board by individuals who have signed in on the yellow sheet. So there's I guess 4 of you who have signed in at this point. This would be on non-repetitive village matters, whether on or not on the agenda. However, no announcements of candidacy for any elected position or electioneering will be permitted. Commenters must be orderly, wait to be called, speak from the podium off to my right, and direct their comments to the board. And we'll allow, I think most of you have spoke at the last couple of board meetings as well as last couple park commission meetings. So we'll strictly enforce the 2-minute limitation on individuals. And then you must return to the audience when signaled to do so. Public comment is not permitted outside of this public comment period. The board's ability to act on or respond to public comments is limited by Chapter 19 of the Wisconsin statutes. So with that in mind, we will start with Chris Robers, please. And just state your name and address for the record.
Hello, yes, I'm Chris Robers, and I live at 1275 Benjamin Court. I'm at the end of the cul-de-sac. And I'd like to make two suggestions to the current plan that, this is about the Schilt Park updates and improvements, but I'd like to make two suggestions to the current plan that keeps the park improvements, but also alters them a bit to take into consideration the privacy and safety that we're hoping for. We are also concerned for the value of our homes going down, and maybe these suggestions of keeping the park activities further into the park and away from our homes will potentially help that issue some too. So the first one is the unpaved walking path location. The current plan is that the path loops around the pond heading west. It meets up with the paved walking path at the entrance of the cul-de-sac. And then this just feels like it brings every walker to the edge of our neighborhood each time they loop around the park. I would like to think the walkers would prefer not to have to come so close to our homes also. And so I'd like to propose that the path go around the pond, but then loop more to the right, north and east, past the sledding hill and around the pickleball courts, eventually hooking up with a paved path. This would then keep the path more within the park and away from our homes. The second topic, of course, is the road on Benjamin Court. Currently, the plan is to have the parking lot extend along the north side, along the trees, and continue west with an entrance and exit through Benjamin Court. Of course, we don't want that. Instead, I'd like to propose something different for the parking lot option. Instead of extending parking along the trees, consider utilizing the paved area where the current basketball hoop is. Expand that paved lot to allow for a large parking lot, and this would also provide a turnaround for emergency vehicles. This provides a decent lot for the park users and also keeps it, again, within that park area further away from our homes, which provides the privacy and safety measures we're looking for. So we'd just like you to consider these options, hopefully vote no to the proposed park plan, and allow time for further consideration of changes which takes our neighborhood into consideration. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next individual is Linda Dooms.
Hello, my name is Linda Dooms. I'm at 1313 Benjamin Court. So I always hear the phrase, if you build it, they will come. And that is what I truly believe is going to happen with the Schilt Park improvements. I'm not against improvements, but I am against the drive-through access. I feel that is unnecessary, as a waste of taxpayer dollar, and I know that people will use it. You can say all you want that it's not going to be used, it's not going to bring much traffic, but people are going to come, especially as the village grows. And we don't need that in our neighborhoods. It is definitely against something that's considered a threat in the original comprehensive plan for the parks, where they mentioned that the village doesn't have sidewalks, and so that is a threat to our safety. Also, the original comprehensive plan put a trail in, not a road. So I've always wanted a trail. I lived in that neighborhood for 18 years, and I've always, don't mind crossing through the field, but it was always nice to think, oh, hey, this would be nice, a trail. So I would love to have a trail. I feel like we really need to put safety over convenience. I do agree with Chris's points about extending that current basketball area and making that a larger parking area. I also think that, we will have people coming. People are interested in pickleball. People are interested in basketball. I talked to someone at last week's meeting who said that on average in some of the local area pickleball courts, you can have up to 30 people in a morning. And that's not including the people who are going to come during the day for recreation, for lessons, or anything else like that. So it will be busy. Putting speed humps or anything in that driveway access road isn't going to help, especially when people hit Benjamin Court. And they're not going to pay attention to the intersections. And it is definitely a danger to all those people who use this. This is not just a Benjamin Court issue. It is an issue for the whole subdivision that we love and we care for, and we would like the village to care for it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Then we have Becky Szymanski. feel free to use the proper pronunciation.
My last name is Szymanski.
Szymanski. I apologize.
I do not live on Benjamin Court. I live on the corner of Martingale and Old Buggy. But I do have people that I know that live on Benjamin, and I know that they live on Benjamin for a purpose, because when they bought their property, they bought it on a court. And not only is it not going to be a court anymore, I understand there could be access to the park, but it's like a thorough road, right from one road to another. And that's what I have concern with. And you're gonna say people won't take it as a shortcut? Well, I know, I'm thinking about doing it because I have Bunko on the other side. But what I'm saying is people are gonna start taking it as a shortcut. And people who bought the courts 20 years ago, they bought it because of the name court. And it's no longer going to be a court. It's going to be a road with access directly to Cold Spring Road. And that's what I have concern with, and I just don't think that that's something that people considered when they bought their property. And now it is going to be part of their everyday thinking, is that it's not going to be a court anymore. Maybe a name, hopefully that it will not change, and but it will no longer be the same access as a court, and that's what I feel is not fair. I like the idea of a pickleball. I know I have a lot of friends who play pickleball. And I do know when people hear it's a brand-new court, they're gonna go. They're gonna go for it. What's better, I mean, it's awesome having a new pickleball court, but it's just the idea of having the access there from a court to Cold Spring Road. So, thank you.
Thank you. And then Lisa Van Dyke.
Hello, my name is Lisa Van Dyke. I live at 1341 Martingale Lane on the corner of Old Buggy. We are 1 block away from the court we are talking about. I am against the road access to Benjamin Court for safety reasons. As an artist, I believe you can always redesign things, redraw things. There are no mistakes. There are a lot of good ideas. It can be restyled to the concerns about the safety of the people who live closest to the park. I am all for making all the parks good for the entire village. There are a lot of good things. Pickleball is extremely popular. There is a need. But I do think that people are underestimating the amount of traffic that will result from there being a road connecting into Benjamin Court. So I please ask the board to use wisdom, discernment, and make your best call. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Okay, as we move into new business, the first item of action relates to the item that was just discussed, and that's the concept plan for Schultz Park. So I guess I'd actually like to make the motion for this resolution. So I will make a motion to approve the concept plan for Schultz Park as presented, with one additional request, and that is that there be a redesign of the parking lot areas in the concept plan such that the spaces to the park be moved to the south side versus the north side of the parking areas wherever reasonably possible. The purpose of the redesign is to reduce the amount of crossing of the parking areas to get to park amenities. This would be especially by the children. So my motion is to approve with this one change, the resolution for the concept plan of Schild Park renovation. Do we have a second at all?
Second.
We have a second? Okay.
Can you repeat your motion again that you added to? You want to move the parking lots from where to where?
Basically, you can't tell it real well from the one I have on the screen. I don't know if anybody has a bigger one. But most of the lines for parking, there we go. Hey, there, magic. Everybody in the audience can see that, I'm sure, and you guys have seen this. And the board members have seen this. Basically, most of the parking on here is along the north. Now, maybe some things have to be in the north, that's why I said reasonably, but the majority of this I'd like to see to the south. And
Just
I know
on the other side of the road.
the other side of the road. Wherever possible. And that's just to avoid, and frankly, you know, I'll give Mike Van Dyke credit for this. Mike, in one of his emails a month or so ago, Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, but he had mentioned things about, I think he may have said speed bumps, but I know we have, I'd have to defer to our Director of Public Works, but I know we have speed humps already built in to the pathway, correct, Joe?
Currently, those parking spaces are to the north, right? A section of them, yeah.
Yeah, and if I said, I'm saying move them to the south when kids are getting out of, especially kids, getting out of cars, going to the playground, wherever they're going, they don't have to cross traffic. That's the only thought.
Thank you.
That's what that's about. You need more of it read, Barb?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I follow you now.
Okay, so we had a motion, we had a second. I'm just gonna read something, essentially related to these objections that we've heard for the last couple months. Generally speaking, the objections voiced over the past couple months relate to the second access point to be located at the west side of Schild Park, where it intersects with Benjamin Court. The objections have been very concentrated, received primarily from residents living on or near Benjamin Court. I want to assure our residents that their objections have been heard. They have been heard by our Director of Parks and Recreation, by our Director of Public Works, by the Park Commission, and by the Village Board. While we have heard you, I feel the benefits of the second access point to the Village of Fox Crossing far outweigh any concerns that have been expressed for the immediate neighborhood. Plans for Schild Park have been studied thoroughly. Our directors, commissioners, and board members are experienced, highly professional individuals. We have also utilized McMahon Engineering as a consultant for this project. The process has included several public meetings, as well as information provided by mail, on the village's website, and on Facebook. A survey was sent to 7,400 email addresses. We have been told that, quote, Nobody in the neighborhood is in favor of the second access point. End of quote. I personally have been contacted by residents of the neighborhood who, in fact, have expressed either no objection and/or total support for the project, including the second access point. I have been told the access point on Benjamin Court was always planned. While I cannot speak to always, I do know the access point from Benjamin Court has been a requirement of any developer since the early 1990s. I am now going to ask Police Chief Callen and Fire Chief Sweeney to comment on the value of the second access point with regard to patrolling the area and with regard to providing emergency services. After the chiefs make their comments, I will ask my fellow board members for their comments. So Chief Callen, please.
Okay. So I was able to provide some numbers to the board earlier on some of our calls for service. I won't go through all the numbers again, but Shield Park is our second busiest park that we have in the Village Fox Crossing. In the past 3 years, we've had 84 calls for service there. If we go back 10 years, we've had 232 calls for service in Shield Park alone. These calls include suspicious people and vehicles, drug use and drug sales, a robbery, and even a weapons call where a handgun was discharged in one of the pavilion bathrooms. The current layout creates hidden areas that are not easily visible from the roadway. When we add these additional spaces, and if it dead ends in the back, it is going to create even more additional secluded areas. Having 2 points of ingress and egress is much safer for those using the park. It would lower congestion in the pavilion and playground area, gives an alternate route in the situation if one part of the park is unsafe to travel past, giving an alternate exit. The second entrance will also improve response time not only for officers, but for fire, first responders, and paramedics. This will also make it safer for my officers to have alternate entrances or exits to patrol the park. And then this will also actually lead to more patrol in that Benjamin Court area by the officers driving through the park. So from a PD standpoint, the current plan is better and safer than the current existing park structure.
Thank you, Chief. And Chief Sweeney?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to add what Chief Callen was saying. Our concerns without that entrance would be access to with fire and EMS ambulances and that during calls. As you know, we're under the gun when we got to come in there for an incident. So turning vehicles around and getting them out of there without that entrance would be very challenging. So I would agree that it would be much better with it.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Then I will turn to my fellow board members. Kate?
Yes, I
Go
would
ahead.
like to address this. This has been a particularly difficult call for me, and I just want my fellow neighbors, I live in the neighborhood too, I would like my fellow neighbors to know that I have taken their concerns to heart. Quite frankly, I agree with many of these concerns because I believe that we will have more traffic. We will have more neighbors. There are apartments being built to the south of us, and there are homes being built to the north of us. And there are going to be more people and more park users. And I know from our police department, which I have deep trust in, that we've had some really bad situations in that park. And I'm very grateful for everything they've done to keep us safe. And I'm very grateful that the bad situations that have gone on in that park haven't impacted all of us such that we basically don't even know about the bad things that have happened. So when I was doing my homework and talking to all of you and listening to your stories, I personally remember being in your shoes when I was in an argument with the town about Jacobson Road. And I have been in several arguments about where stop signs should be and about the safety of children on bikes on roads like Irish with no sidewalk. And I know that it's very dangerous for any kid to be riding their bike down Irish Road to go to Ohauser when sometimes people drive 40. And I believe you when you say it's dangerous, because it is. I believe that. That said, I also believe that parks really make a community what it is. And I believe that parks improve communities. They improve public health. They improve mental health. They help people get outside, and they help people get their feet on real ground. They do improve safety, just from a perspective of feeling better and getting more exercise. They enhance equity and inclusion, and parks have more attendance when they have more access points. When parks only have one access point, it tends to privilege one neighborhood that has the primary access. So by opening up more access points, people can come in from more directions more easily. I believe our police department when they say opposite park access on opposite sides of the park is safer. I hate to think that we will become a dangerous community, and I think that would be an overstatement or overreaction on my part based in fear. I don't think that would be the case, but I tend to worry. I truly believe that this is the right decision, and I believe that our Director of Park and Recs has a depth of experience and knowledge. Our Park Commission does too. The engineers that made the map have done park layouts before. And I support what they are recommending. And I do that with a heavy heart because I recognize that my own friends and neighbors just despise that with all their might. Enough said.
Any other board members want to comment?
I would just reiterate what Kate said, and I think that the Park and Rec Commission did a good job in putting this together. They have experience with parks. Some of them, many of them volunteer or work in the parks, so they are familiar with what goes on in the parks on a daily basis. And I think that was part of what precipitated this plan. I think the fact that they voted unanimously to approve this gives that vote weight and credibility. And I think it just makes, the park is for the whole community, not just a small neighborhood. So to Kate's point, I think this makes the best choice. With the amendment with the parking moved over to the other side.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Dale, it's Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Yep. So bear with me. So to be honest, I'm really struggling with this one. First, I want to commend Director Geiser, the Park and Rec staff, the Parks Commission, not only soliciting input and listening, but my understanding made quite a few changes on that first meeting based on feedback from the community. You know, I've also heard input from the neighbors that they didn't, feel that they had input. But from what I see, the Parks Commission did listen to them and they did make changes. Now, granted, they didn't make all the changes that the neighborhood wanted. And then second, I want to thank my neighbors. I know a couple of them have been very active, getting the neighborhood involved and making them very aware. So I'm very appreciative of that. So as most everyone knows, I'm an engineer. So I look at these proposals and recommendations from a logical point of view, and I'm really struggling. I keep trying to evaluate the pros and cons, trying to look at the big picture as well as the individual concerns. One thing that hasn't been mentioned yet, I know some people mentioned the pond. Why are we constructing a pond? Maybe I'm talking on behalf of the board in the village here a little bit too much, but we really don't want to invest millions of dollars into digging and now maintaining ponds. This was a mandate from the Wisconsin DNR, and we've constructed 8 ponds in the last 10 years for those that aren't aware. So the town/village specifically bought this property in 2013 for the purpose of constructing that retention pond. I've also heard a comment, hey, there's an existing pond there, just use that one. We won't get into the engineering details, but essentially we can't use that one. We need to construct a new pond. Secondly, I want to address the village parks. Again, Amanda and the staff and the commission have been doing just a tremendous job going through the village and updating our parks over the last 10, 15, 20 years. Really trying to balance the requests from the communities and use the limited dollars the board authorizes. So again, I commend you guys. Like Kate, I've spoken with quite a few of my neighbors. Quite a few reached out to me. I reached out to quite a few. Everyone agrees the additional walking paths, the pickleball courts, the sledding hill will make a great addition, not only to this park, but I think the community as a whole. And I think everyone knows that one of the goals for the Park and Rec team is to increase participation and use of our parks. Since this is considered a neighborhood park, logically it makes sense to me to have an entrance from the neighborhood. But also heard comments, well, you can just drive around, which is true because I do that today. My wife and I have a garden over there and we drive over there quite a bit. I've also heard from some of my neighbors who feel that the entrance is a bad idea. Increased traffic is going to increase the safety risk. And part of me, I see where they're coming from, but part of me, I struggle with the logic. I just look at our family. We had 3 adult daughters. All of them drove. We had mini cars sitting in our driveway, right? So we increased the traffic down the streets. However, they're out of the house now and I work from home. So our traffic has dramatically decreased. The point is all neighborhoods will ebb and flow with traffic as they grow and expand. So again, I'm torn as an elected official. I want to represent what my constituents are telling me. So I'm still on the fence with this one. And then Dale, just I appreciate the motion to look at moving those stalls. As you stated, I do have some, concerns with kids jumping out of the minivan and just darting across the line of traffic there. So I appreciate that. So that's where my head's at. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Mike.
Dale, may I one more?
Sure.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you all for being here. And I just realized there was really something I was going to say, and it had to do with one of the moms from our neighborhood who is not here tonight, and she happened to live right next to the stop sign, and she was telling me that how no one stops, and she has these really little kids and on the little roller bikes and everything. And my heart goes out to her. I don't remember her name. And my heart goes out to all the people who are going to experience things that they don't like, and that safety, having worked in a manufacturing plant, is up to every single one of us, and that we need to go slow down, and that we need to stop and make it a complete stop and look both ways, and we need to be careful in parks and in parking lots and everything else. So if anything, I'm grateful that you brought this up and that you showed your concern, because it is catchy, and I appreciate that, and I wish for all of you to do the same.
Thanks again. Okay, Barb, you got?
Many years ago, that Benjamin Court was always going to have a road in it. Many years ago. It's got to be 20 years ago at least. There was always a road that was going to be, it's designated for a road. If you look on our plats or whatever, there's always been a road in that neighborhood. So this isn't something new that Park Department just came up with. That road was already designated many years ago. Whether it would have been, if it would have been sold to a developer, he could have put houses in there with a road. We bought it, that road existed, but was never put in, and now we're going to use it and put it in. But it's been on the books for at least, I'm gonna say, a good 20 years. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thanks,
And I'm
Barb.
torn by this whole thing as well, but the Park Department has done a good job with working with the neighbors and working with a lot of things, and this has been grueling for them, I know for sure. Thank you for that.
Okay, Deb, you want to say anything? Tim?
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, appreciate everybody's comments. Then I think we'd like a roll call vote on this.
Okay. Trustee Van Dyke.
Nay.
Trustee Kepi.
Aye.
Trustee Raditz.
Aye.
Trustee McQuillan.
Aye.
Trustee Swartz.
Aye.
Trustee Hansen.
Aye.
President Youngquist.
Aye. Okay, so it's 6-1. And we understand, Mike.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to award the proposal for the playground equipment for the renovated park.
I'll make a motion to award
Thank you for being here, people.
proposal Schilt Park Playground Equipment Replacement Project in the amount of $398,068 to Gerber Leisure Products Incorporated, as submitted.
Second.
Okay, any comments, Amanda?
Manager Sturgill did a good job of kind of laying out the process in his memo. I don't necessarily have anything to add. I was happy with the feedback we received via the survey. That was probably more that we would have had with an open house in-person session just related to the playground itself. So I think we had a lot of good feedback, and based on that, that was the direction the Park Commission would like to go.
Okay,
I have a question.
sure.
Amanda, you're asking for an extra $16,000, almost $17,000 extra to get to that 415, and it says to exchange pieces of equipment, and we're getting new equipment, or make other on-site modifications. Can you explain that a little bit?
It's kind of been our standard practice to give a little bit of wiggle room when we kind of go through the finalization of all of the design, the layout, just in case anything needs to be adjusted. That way the board has authorized it, and I don't have to come back and ask for permission to change that award amount. I don't foresee that necessarily happening. It would be if we needed to maybe expand the edging a little bit to get everything to fit in a little bit better, but that should be a fairly solid number.
Thank you.
And just one comment on that, Amanda. I you know, if in working with McMahon and who's the other consultant on the whole layout? It's Rupert or who's the
For the
consulting?
playground specifically, or the
Yeah, on the layout, it's McMahon, right?
correct.
Okay, so working with McMahon, if it turns out that we have to modify those streets going through a little bit to make them a little wider, or whatever the park commission decides to do at this point, as far as fine tuning everything, or working with Joe for that matter, you know, on the stormwater end, if something has to be done. I feel the board will support you in changing things for the better. I mean, you know, we're not just gonna give you a blank check, but I think if there's a need for a budget amendment down the road, I think somewhere along the line, when I was talking to Jeff, I had suggested that we put an additional $50,000 in here. So
Well, I think tonight
didn't
was.
get in here.
Tonight was the first step, I think, in the process of moving forward with this project, where we can finalize the specs, reconfigure that parking lot, and get this project out to bid. It's always the village's hope to try and get everything out sooner than later to try and get better numbers. I think at that point, we'll have a better idea when those bid numbers come in, where the project is sitting. You know, we have the playground number here. We know what the building costs are approximately. So we should have a pretty good idea in the next couple of months on where the project is sitting overall.
Okay. Okay, so we did not vote yet. Okay, Those in favor of awarding this $398,000 package signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That carries. Next item is a condominium plat amendment. It's actually the sixth amendment to the Prairie Lake condos.
I'd like to make a motion for the condominium plat amendment, the sixth addendum to Prairie Lake condominiums. This would be dividing parcel number 1210216 into two parcels as submitted.
Second?
Okay, George, did you want to say anything about this?
I can, I mean, this is a separate action, but it really ties to the next two items that you're going to be acting on as well. This simply separates out based on the input of residents and others, the parcel that is being separated out, that Area 2, is going to be not part of the condominium plat after this occurs, and we'll go through other steps later on. The reason for that is that it would no longer have access to the lake and some of the other amenities. This was something desired by both the developer and the property owners. Planning Commission recommended approval.
Okay. Any questions for George? Those in favor of approving this amendment signify by saying aye.
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 That carries. Then the preliminary plat for Butterfly Way, which is the piece being broken off from the condo association.
Make a motion that the Village of Fox Crossing Board of Trustees hereby recommends approval of the preliminary plat with the above conditions listed.
Second?
Okay, you want to add anything to it, George?
I don't think there's much to add. It creates 6 large lots for future development. As further on the agenda will be the rezoning to single-family. This was part of a PDD, so the Planning Commission reviewed this and recommended approval tied to the other actions.
Okay. Any questions for George? Those in favor of approving the preliminary plat signify by saying aye.
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 Carries. Then we have the rezoning that George just mentioned for that parcel. This is for the first reading.
I'd like to make a motion to amend Fox Crossing Municipal Code, Chapter 435 zoning ordinance, rezone a portion of vacant parcel number 1210216 located on Prairie Lake Circle from Planned Development District to R2 Suburban Low Density District. This is the first reading as submitted.
Second.
Okay. Anything to add here, George?
Again, very quickly, the reason it's being rezoned, it was originally part of the PDD, which was part of the condominium development. To clean this up and to ensure there only be single-family units there, the best step was to rezone it to low-density residential. That's what this does.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for George? Those in favor of approving this for the first reading signify by saying aye.
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 Carries. Then we have another rezoning on West Prospect of a parcel, another first reading.
I'd like to make a motion to amend Fox Crossing Municipal Code, Chapter 435 zoning ordinance, rezone 4425 West Prospect Avenue from R1 Rural Residential District to I1 Light Residential District. This is the first reading as submitted.
Second.
George?
I can just simply add that the future land use map identifies this area as future industrial. The change to this will allow for light industrial uses. The applicant was willing to rezone it to light industrial, even though that some of the surrounding zonings are heavy industrial. This would restrict the use and provide more control to the property.
Okay, those in favor of approving?
I just have a question,
Oh,
please.
sure.
Yes.
I was reading through this, the staff notes that Jeff sent to us, and there was a gentleman that said he was not quite sure how an auto shop in between two houses made any sense. Can we do that? I mean, is that something that can be where you're residential on either side and you put light industrial in the middle?
We can, and what's interesting is the person that said that, his property is zoned heavy industrial, so.
Oh, okay,
So we were kind of surprised about that.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, those in favor, excuse me, of approving this rezoning for the first reading signify by saying aye.
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 Carries. Then we have one more CSM for a property on American Drive.
I'd like to make a motion for the certified survey map 2025 American Drive and vacant parcel number 12101450901 as submitted.
Second.
Okay, anything at all in this one, George?
Well, very simply, they're just combining the two parcels with a certified survey map. Again, the planning commission recommended approval.
Okay. Anybody have questions? Those in favor of approving the CSM signify by saying aye.
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 Also carries. Then we have a change order number 3 and final related to the utility work in the Margio neighborhood.
Make a motion that the Village of Fox Crossing Board of Trustees hereby approves change order number 3 and final for the Margio Neighborhood Utility Improvement Project contract for a net decrease of $189,035.63, resulting in an adjusted contract amount of $2,876,062.77 for DeGroot.
Second.
Okay. Everything's looking good and
Yeah,
all
there's,
all
we-
done out there, Joe?
Yeah, we have a little bit of cleanup work yet to do yet this spring, mainly just because we kind of ran out of time before it got too late in the year to finish up all the landscaping, so that's just something that we have to clean up with the contractor yet in the spring. One thing I just wanted to mention to the board that I did hear from numerous residents over the course of the project that they were very pleased with the communication that DeGroot had with the residents throughout the whole project there. So that was so it's always nice to hear when the residents are actually happy with the contractor out there.
So it's very nice to hear. So, thank you, Joe. Any questions, anybody? Those in favor of, excuse me, approving this change order signify by saying aye.
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 Also carries. Lost my place. I don't know how many operator licenses are.
Three.
Three? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the 3 applicants for operator license with the period beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Also carries. And expenditures.
Make a motion that the Village of Fox Crossing Board of Trustees hereby authorize the above expenditures to be paid by the Finance Department with the exception of none in the amount of $11,816,776.59.
Second.
And a significant portion of that was tax collection. So,
Something like 10 million plus. And I think I looked and 70% of that was going to the schools, I believe, of that amount.
70%.
So they get a fair chunk of our tax money.
Wow.
As I'm sure they feel it should be. So, any questions on expenditures that have not previously been answered? Hearing none, those in favor of approving signify by saying aye.
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 Also carries. Then I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We're adjourned, 6:10.
Village of Fox Crossing meetings are presented to inform Village of Fox Crossing residents and interested parties about village government. Additional information, meeting agendas, and minutes are available on the village website, www.foxcrossingwi.gov. Fox Crossing residents can express their opinions about village issues by contacting the village president or village trustees. Contact information is on the website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.